It's going great.
We're
It's
back.
cold here. It's cold in California, man.
It's cold here, but not really. Only like 32. It could be way colder.
Yeah, California has a different cold.
It's dry
I'm not,
cold.
yeah, it's dry. But yeah, it's chilly. Obviously, I mean, every time I think we do these videos, I have a jacket on.
Me too.
It's cold in the office for sure. So
But but what we have to warm us up today is Wi-Fi 7 access points. Like I got
that
two
is
of them in
right.
here. They're like heaters.
Good, good entry.
Um. So so the ECW536 is shipping. Yeah, we got
Yeah,
you got me one
yeah, I
yesterday.
got you one.
Got
Yeah,
me
we
one.
did a pre-order, and they shipped those out,
Yeah.
and I was like, I have to get you one. So
Thanks, man. I'm gonna do a stocking order probably today. Um,
cool. And new packaging too, right?
yeah, the packaging is really nice. I posted a picture on LinkedIn, but it's got a really nice mount. Like the back of the 536 is like it's aluminum, um, and it has like a screw-in type mount, right? It's a new type of mount.
Yeah, it just like pops in place and rotates, and
Yeah,
you're good
and
to go.
and the packaging looks like an Apple product almost. It came when it comes out of the box. It's so nice. And the other thing, I'll show when I
We
do my
built the
review
iPhone, so
video.
we just use that.
Yeah, yeah. It looks like really nicely packaged, and I love the LED light on the 536. It's got like an animated color sequence on it.
Yeah,
Um,
it's pretty cool.
yeah, I can't quite grab it, but it's like different. It seems like all the Wi-Fi 7 access points just have one light now, and they're
Yeah.
using that they have to use like pulsing color patterns to indicate different things.
Yeah, we have over 250 color schemes on that, I think.
Yeah.
So
So
we can use it for a number of different things. I think we will start to utilize the LED a little more than what we are now.
yeah.
But I'm sure Roger and the team will be excited to hear that you noticed the LEDs because we actually talked about that a little bit. So
Yeah, it looks nice. Now I put up the spec for it. So this thing, let's talk about it a little bit. So tri-band access point, 4x4 on all radios, all three radios, right?
it's a beast.
Yeah.
Yeah, yeah. And
So
then
yeah,
go ahead.
no. So 4x4 on all three radios. So yeah, I mean that gives you the most antenna patterns. Give you better distance and speed with devices that have 4x4 radios, right?
Yep. Yeah. I mean, we wanted to give our customers kind of the best experience with this particular access point, and I mean, it's a substantial ceiling mount access point, right? And that hence we had to improve the mounting of it. But yeah, it's 4x4x4.
Yeah, and I mean the whole back is all aluminum, so it's got one big heat sink on the back, right? So,
Yep.
so you did have to mount it good, but it's very slim design though. I mean, it's not like huge or anything like that. It's still only like that thick.
Yeah, it started out pretty. It started out pretty big actually,
Yeah,
and then we were able to fine tune the design of it. And so yeah, it's we wanted to make it super clean, as thin as possible, right? Without obviously there's going to be heat and stuff like that we have to worry about. But yeah, the design turned out really nice. And then did you want to talk about the ports on this
yeah,
guy?
yeah. I still have the spec up, so yeah, so it's got two 10 gigabit ports on it, right?
Yeah, two 10 gigabit ports. There's a primary port. This AP is 802.11 BT, so it's PoE plus plus.
Right.
I can't remember it's over
BT5.
30. I think it's 35 or 36 watts.
Okay. Yeah.
I could be wrong. I can't remember, but yeah, you have to supply BT power to this particular access point. And then there's the secondary port that's 10 gigabit, so you can connect other devices. Now, the secondary port's not necessarily passing PoE, but you do have that second port to connect another device.
And they both those ports support 1, 2.5, and 5. They're multi gig.
That's right. Yeah, yeah.
Yeah. So the
Yeah,
one I have
everything we deliver, I think, is that it's set up as auto sensing, and it will detect. Um,
the fastest
it will
speed.
change obviously when it's connected to a 10 gig switch versus a multi gig. and so on.
So yeah, so the power requirements, you need to have a PoE++ injector or switch. I have the injectors in stock. The 2.5 gig version, I know there's a 5 gig version too, right?
Five,
of the
of the
BT
PoE injector, you mean?
Yeah, the BT injector.
Yeah.
I have the 2.5 gig injector in stock, which is probably sufficient for anyone that doesn't have a 10 gig switch, right?
That's right. Yeah, of course. Yep.
So I have that one in stock, and we have a 10 gig PoE++ switch. What's the model number on that one?
On the 10 gig, it's the ECW536FP.
Okay. Yep. So that's the switch that you'll probably need to power this thing, right? If you want to get the
that's probably the best solution for it, for sure.
Yeah, but don't. I did a video yesterday. Don't try to run it off a standard PoE Plus switch. If you're gonna buy this, you got to get a switch too, or make sure your switch supports PoE Plus Plus.
Yeah, exactly. Yep.
All right, so let's do it. Let's do a speed test on it. Well, first of all, wait, I'm not gonna do
not
that
on the
yet.
fly.
Let me show. Okay, I'm gonna show the connection. So I'm just showing what my laptop's showing. I have the Intel BE200 installed in my laptop.
Yep.
And it's showing like right now aggregate link speed 5.1 gig, receive 4.8 gig transmit. So that's the speed that I'm seeing connected right now. Now, and you see it says aggregate here. So I'm thinking that multi-link is enabled. We're not sure of that yet, but I've seen I have a spectrum analyzer here, and while I'm running speed tests, I'm running this on 6 gigahertz and 5, and I can definitely see that there's data being sent on the channel on 5 and on 6.
So multi-link is enabled on that IAP.
Mm-hmm.
The question is the actual adapter supporting multi-link, I guess, is the question. But did you want to talk a little bit about that? You're a part of the Windows.
Yeah, so if you do install this Intel BE200 adapter, I have a video that I'll put of me installing it. You need to have a few things in your laptop. It has to be an Intel CPU. You have to have a M.2 slot that's E key to install the BE200. So those two requirements for the hardware. But then you also need to install the Windows 11 Home Insider preview.
Right.
In order to get the Wi-Fi 7 features, so that you'd see that Wi-Fi 7 connected, right?
Yeah. So not everybody's able, anybody can buy it, but they probably won't go through the steps that you just did to be able to really experience the Wi-Fi 7, specifically the multi-link operation part of it.
Yeah, I mean, anyone can join the Home Insider program or the Windows Insider program, but obviously corporate types aren't going to be able to do that on their laptop. But I say most engineer guys that are testing this out are going to be able to easily install the Insider Preview and install the BE200 in there and see some pretty fast speeds. Okay, so so I've got OpenSpeedTest. I've got the server running on my laptop that's connected to the Ingenious ECW536. So I'll put that up. And let's see. I don't know. I just did a speed test a few minutes ago. And I got 2.3 down, 2 up, which is pretty good, right? So I'm on a multi-gig switch, 2.5 gigs. So I almost am hitting up against that limit, right? So let's run it again. See if this cuts off the stream. No, and I'm going to a 10 gig connected desktop. So yeah, you're not seeing this, but yeah, I'm getting 2.3 down, and 1.9. It's going into the 2, so it's getting almost 2 up.
Nice.
And this is still early days. We have early drivers on the Intel, early firmware on the Wi-Fi 7 access points, but that's pretty impressive already. And it's mostly just that 320 megahertz channel width, right? That's giving us that speed boost.
Yeah. Well, yeah, you're going to see that definitely on the 320, but you will also see it on the multi-link. I mean, you can operate on 2 bands at the same time. And both those bands, maybe it's 6 gigahertz and 5 gigahertz. They
Yeah.
can be at different channel widths
Yeah.
too. So, if you max out on the widths on both and you have a clean connection, no interference, then you're moving into like very high speeds at that point.
Yeah, I
So
mean, then this is a single client test, so I mean, at a minimum, you need a multi-gig switch for this. I mean, you're going to need, 2.5 gig. You're going to need PoE plus plus anyway,
yeah,
to run it. So yeah, I mean, you could use an injector. You could use an injector, PoE plus
yeah,
plus injector. We have a BT injector, and plug it into just a PoE, a multi-gig switch, right? It doesn't even need to be PoE.
right.
To do some testing. That would work fine. But if you want to get that next step to see faster than multi-gig, you'll definitely need a 10 gig PoE plus plus switch.
Right, right.
And so about the multi-link, like I was talking to the Ruckus guys, and I guess they decided to pick as default use the 2.4 and the 6 gigahertz radios because the bands are like furthest apart. And
Oh yeah.
and there's like less chance for like interference, even though they're on different bands. I guess there was still, if you go 5 and 6, there's still like a chance for some overlap.
Yeah, and it depends on the filters that you are using too.
You sound
So,
like you really
well,
know.
what's up?
Filters. I didn't know about filters, but yeah,
You didn't
yeah.
know about filters?
No, I didn't know how that works. Like that, what on the chipset, like how they isolate the bands.
Yeah, yeah, yeah,
Okay.
exactly. Yeah, I thought we talked about that
No,
before.
I haven't really heard about that. Like I just figured that when they came out with these radios, these frequency bands, that they spaced them out enough so they would never step on each other, if the radio's right on top. But you probably get some noise generated by the amplifiers and things like that.
Yeah, so depending on the chipset provider, or the chipset manufacturer, right? I think they use different. I don't know too much into it. I'm sure there's a CWNE out there that could
Yeah.
probably speak to it better than I can. But yeah, they you can have different types of filters to make sure there's no interference between the bands that are operating.
Yeah.
I can't I can't think of the name of the filter that we're
Is it like a
using right
notch
now.
filter or something? Is it called a notch filter maybe or?
No,
Oh, okay.
I can't remember.
Okay.
I'm sure
Well,
somebody can comment below.
yeah, we'll learn more about
There's
that.
different types, but we're using a particular kind. We use Qualcomm, so they have filters that we use, I guess. But yeah,
Yeah, so I mean, so the big thing that we know is working right now is the 320 megahertz, and we're getting these like super high speeds, or like twice what we'd see with 160 megahertz channel width, right? At 6 gigahertz.
yeah, yeah. The sweet thing about 6 gigahertz is you have more. I shouldn't say a lot. You have more 160 megahertz wide channels, and then you have 320 megahertz channels as well that you can use. 320, you probably most likely use it in a home or something like that. 160 you could use in an office, and then you can go to 80 on bigger deployments, and then trim down from there, depending on like how many access points you have and how much interference you have.
Yeah, and then the multi-link, when that kicks in, I mean, it's going to provide redundancy. So, if one band has interference, and you're not going to have a dropout, it's just going to send the traffic over the other band.
That's right. Yeah, because it's mirroring the data that's sending.
Oh, it is. So it's sending. I was trying to send it on both, huh?
It is, yeah. Per my reading and my
Okay.
understanding,
Okay.
it's sending it, and that's why we typically talk about reliability on
Yeah.
multi-link, is because it's basically mirroring the data, and if one connection drops, then you still have this, you still have a link up, right?
Yeah.
So
Yeah. So yeah, it's still early days, but this thing's working great. They're in stock today, right? They're in distribution. So
yeah,
if anyone wants the ECW536, let us know. And just make sure that you have the correct PoE switches and that you're, before you start buying these things, right?
yep. You definitely have to make sure the infrastructure is set up for it.
Yeah,
So
or injector. You can, if you're just gonna buy one to test, the BT injector will be just fine. With
yeah,
a
for sure.
multi-gig
Yep.
switch. So all right, anything else you want to talk about today, Ryan?
No, I think
All
that's
right.
it.
Well, we're pretty excited about. We've got 2 Wi-Fi 7 access points here now, so I guess we're transitioning to Wi-Fi 7 for real. And this week they just I guess they just they didn't ratify the standard, but what happened this week?
I don't know.
The Wi-Fi Alliance finalized certification for Wi-Fi 7
Oh
devices.
yeah, well, that was kind of big news because they were going to ratify in May originally.
Mm-hmm.
Then they moved it out to December of 2024.
Okay.
And then they changed the schedule again, so they want to ratify this even sooner. So,
good.
So that's a really good sign. The adoption rate for Wi-Fi 7, I think, is going to be very rapid. Maybe more so than Wi-Fi 6, but I'm not sure. Like 11AX, more so than 11AX, but I'm not 100% sure about that yet. Yeah, I don't know how you feel about that.
I think so, because like with Wi-Fi 6, I think that like Apple was kind of dragging their feet for a while, upgrading the iPhone to Wi-Fi 6, right? Like,
yeah.
And as we know, once they upgrade to the new standard, then it picks up right away. Everyone wants that because they want to see what their new phone will do.
Yeah. So now the hardware supports it's tri-band now, right? So that's that was a big that's a big leap forward, right? So now they got to get in line with the protocol.
It's just a question of whether the phone manufacturers will support the 320 megahertz channel width. They may be like, it uses too much power. We don't need it. No one needs that kind of speed.
Yeah, and the distance of running on 320.
Yeah.
On a phone, I'm not sure about that, but
yeah. So we'll see about that. But as far as laptops go, you can definitely upgrade with that BE200 now and see some immediate benefits.
Yeah, for sure.
For sure. All right, guys, remember to like and subscribe. We'll be back next week for another podcast.